and another sorrow.
I feel
Can I see a falling tear and not feel my sorrow's share? Can a father see his child weep nor be with sorrow filled? Can a mother sit and hear an infant groan, an infant fear? No, no, never can it be, never, never can it be.
Can I see another's woe and not be in sorrow too? Can I see another's grief and not seek for kind relief? Can I see a falling tear and not feel my sorrow's share? Can a father see his child and weep, nor be with sorrow filled? So this poem starts with a series of questions which I think start to challenge us. Remember, another poem that starts with questions is The Lamb. You know, who made you? You know, you're this picture of innocence. We learn in The Lamb that it's Christ that made the lamb. Here, we've got a much more sort of human, moral question being asked, aren't we? Can you see someone and not be upset too? Can you see someone's woe or their sorrow and not be in sorrow too? You know, when you see someone in grief, do you need to? Are you feeling grief? Do you need to find relief, you know, from that grief? Can a mother sit and hear an infant groan, an infant tear? No, no, never can it be. Never, never can it be. So can a mother watch and see a child cry and not feel sorrow? And he's saying that's never, never can it be. He's quite emphatic, isn't he? The repetition is important there. The alliteration of the repeated end sound and the repetition. So he's saying that we are all connected, aren't we? I think this is a repeated idea, isn't it, in the poems, that we, as a body of human beings, we're all connected. We're not separate from each other. We don't live in our separate, isolated shells and are completely unaffected by other people's feelings. And can he who smiles on all hear the wren with sorrows small, hear the small bird's grief and care, hear the woes that infants bear, and not sit beside the nest, pouring pity in their breast, and not sit the cradle near, weeping tear on infant's tear? And so now he shifts it to the Creator, or Christ, and he who smiles on all, so he who sees the good in everything. Can he hear the little bird with tiny sorrows, hear the woes that infant bear, and not weep a tear for them, and not sit both night and day wiping all our tears away? Oh, no, never can it be, never, never can it be. He doth give his joy to all. He becomes an infant small, he becomes a man of woe, he doth feel the sorrow too. I think very powerfully shows again a repeated idea in these poems, if we've been looking at them, that Christ is in all of us. He becomes us, he becomes part of us when we are suffering. He doesn't abandon us, and that's emphasised, isn't it, by the rhythm, by the repetition, by the rhyme scheme. Very powerful. He doth give his joy to all. He becomes an infant small. He becomes a man of woe. He doth feel the sorrow too. Think not thou canst sigh a sigh, and thy maker is not by. Think not thou canst weep a tear, and thy maker is not near. Oh, he gives to us his joy, that our grief he may destroy. Till our grief is fled and gone, he doth sit by us and moan. So in other words, this is an image that Christ is with us all the time. I think it's bringing kind of comfort to all of us, isn't it, that we're not alone. We're not suffering alone. That we're connected to everyone, that everyone feels pain and everyone understands pain, and that we at our best are sympathetic to everyone. So we, as a kind of human community, feel connected to everyone. And B, Christ is always with us. Christ is within us. He never goes away. And we have Blake closing the Songs of Innocence with this very powerful poem, probably one of the best of the whole collection of the Songs of Innocence, and closing it with a sort of hymn-like poem, similar in structure to Cradle Song, the 4 lines, the quatrain, and the powerful rhymes and the powerful rhythms, similar in sort of ideas to the human form divine, the divine image that we've looked at, where mercy, pity and love have a human form, and similar in ideas, but perhaps less sort of intellectual in that poem, isn't it? That he's very powerfully showing in these images that Christ is us, and that I think is a good note to end the Songs of Innocence on, because I think that what he's trying to say, isn't he, that innocence is an active state of mind. It's a state of mind where you are sympathetic to people, and that you share their pain and you understand them. You put yourself in their shoes. Reminds me a bit of Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, who says to Scout that you really have to sort of put yourself in someone else's shoes to understand them properly, and that's an important aspect of being alive. I think that's a kind of key idea that exists in that poem too.